It's time for Pod of the Dead. Join us!
Come on!
All right.
Too far.
Hello and welcome to Pod of the Dead, the internet horror film club that nobody asked for. With me, as always, are the two final girls, Stephanie.
Hello.
And Natasha.
Hey, guys.
On today's episode, we are covering the 2002 werewolf film Dog Soldiers.
Dog Soldiers is a 2002 British action horror film written, directed, and edited by Neil Marshall in his feature directorial debut. Starring Sean Pertwee, Kevin McKidd, Emma Cleesby, and Liam Cunningham. The film follows a squad of soldiers fighting to survive an attack by a pack of werewolves during a military training exercise in the Scottish Highlands.
Yeah. So, this came out in 2002. 2002 for horror was an interesting year, but it definitely is telling of one of the problems I have with this film before we start getting into all of it and the budget and stuff is how dark it is and how and everything. But it really definitely explained to me when I started looking at what films came out that year, because it was definitely the style. So
monochromatic is the style.
Just really saturated and So 28 Days Later came out this year, which is like that as well. The Ring, Ghost Ship. Anybody?
Oh, God, that was terrible.
Cabin Fever. I really want us to cover this film specifically one day. Bubba Hotep. Okay, I'm gonna give you a little bit about this. Bubba Hotep is a mummy film set in an old folks retirement home, starring Bruce Campbell as a man who thinks he's Elvis. And there's an old black man that thinks he's JFK, and they're fighting this mummy. It's amazing.
That's too much. There's too much going on. I can't keep up with that.
That's a movie. I'll watch that. I mean, it's Bruce Campbell's in it. I would probably watch
Bruce
it. Just
Campbell
for
as
the sake
Elvis.
of watching it.
He thinks he's Elvis. It's great. But if you guys want us to cover that, email us at podofthedead666@gmail.com.
I guess it's a horror movie, right?
Yeah, sure. It's horror adjacent. Eight-Legged Freaks came out this year as well. The first Evil Dead came out. Red Dragon and Signs. So, but when I saw that 28 Days Later came out, I was like, yes, this is an English film. 28 Days Later is an English film. They both have this grainy, dark kind of feel. It's it must have been the style for that era or whatever.
But there are so many movies on that list that are such better quality production than this one. So I don't want to Signs. There were a couple others you mentioned.
But this is also the director, writer, editor's first feature film too. So when you're talking about Signs, M. Night Shyamalan had already done Unbreakable, The Sixth Sense, so he's been out. So you got to kind of give him a little.
Budget's probably massively different as well. So
well, talking about that budget, I've only got it in pounds. I tried to do the conversion and it was all funky and shit. So we're gonna do this in British pounds,
which is way more American money. So.
It's close. It's 70% is the conversion rate. Okay. So what do you think its budget was?
British pounds.
Yes.
8,800. Nope. Let's see. 800,000 pounds.
800,000 pounds. All right.
I'm gonna go with 1.2.
This movie was made for 2.3 million pounds.
Oh my god.
That's $3 million almost.
Yeah, roughly. Somewhere in that ballpark.
I don't see it.
Well, I mean, the special effects for the practical effects could not have been cheap. Realistically.
I guess, but most of this freaking movie takes place in the woods.
Most of it takes place in a house.
No, it doesn't. Half of it takes place literally in the woods.
A third
and
of
it doesn't even look like a woods. It looks like a tree farm. It looks like a Christmas tree farm.
Oh, you gotta shit on Christmas?
No, I just say if they're gonna do a woods, all of the trees need to be different and not all the same size.
Well,
there was way too much sun coming through.
It's the Scottish Highlands, so have you been there?
Nope.
Then shut the fuck up.
Right. Apparently, it looks like a Christmas tree farm.
Maybe.
Yes.
Maybe.
So on its $2.3 million or million pound budget, how many pounds do you think it lifted?
That's so hard.
It is. Oh man. So this did have a wide release?
It did and it didn't. And I will explain that after you give your...
That's not helpful because we can't give an accurate...
Okay, fine. Neil Marshall was understandably disappointed that the film didn't receive a theatrical release in the U.S.
Okay.
And instead premiered on the Sci-Fi Channel.
Oh my God, that's terrible.
All right, fits.
I think that was partly a lack of courage on the part of the producers that they took the first deal that was offered to them. Marshall says it didn't get a 1 week run. It did get a 1 week run at the at LA's Egyptian Theater, and he's happy. It happily ran, and yeah, so it did
It did a week in America.
It did a week in America in one theater.
In one theater.
It was directly to Sci-Fi. This is probably the best sci-fi movie ever, in my opinion.
Wow. Okay.
Sure.
That's a giant stretch.
For the television channel Sci-Fi.
Yeah,
I'm not saying
I know what you're saying.
I mean, I think the highest
gotta be better.
The highest grossing one's fucking Sharknado. So that's you gotta take it with a grain of salt there, guys.
Funny you mentioned that because after I watched it, the You May Also Like movies were all garbage like that. Like Shark Attack something with like a crazy animatronic shark.
Was it Ghost Shark?
So many of those.
Oh God, was it Ghost Shark?
I think it was. Yeah.
Ghost Shark has a scene, I think, where a shark gets somebody after it dives out of a cooler.
Oh my God. Yeah, I think after we watched it, it was like some dinosaur movie that was like, you may want to watch this dinosaur movie. It was like some stupid
No, I don't.
When
movie.
dinosaurs
like,
attack.
Okay. Yeah, I think it might have been what it was.
So yeah.
What was the... Okay, $1 million. That's all I'm going to say. $1 million pounds.
$1 million pounds?
Yeah, £1 million.
It doubled its budget. It made £5 million.
It did not. That is crazy.
This movie is widely loved by the British Special Forces. They fucking love this movie. I'm not
Representation.
Because they don't get many movies about them. So yeah.
I don't know, but like there's a lot. Okay, so like I understand like, you know, like the production value and stuff might not be fucking, you know, the greatest thing in the world, right?
It's not.
But this movie definitely like I'm not comparing it. Like I'm just throwing that out there first because I know someone's gonna no, fuck no. But this movie is basically if you took werewolves, right, and you're like, I want to make a werewolf movie, and they're like, but I really like the movie Predator and Evil Dead, and they smashed it together.
Yeah, but, definitely Predator, but not Evil Dead.
Being locked in a house and dealing with everything trying to get you in the house, like it's that same style.
No.
And then being hunted is the whole Predator thing.
But that's the whole werewolf thing in general.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can't really make that stretch. It's Predator is in like original Predator quality, like but aside from that, it looks like just like a monster movie.
Yeah, when we get into spoiler territory, I'll talk about how this legitimately was like almost shot for shot the opening of Predator.
I suppose. But
it was.
Neil Marshall claims that he wrote this film as a knee-jerk reaction to the American Werewolf in Paris that came out in 1997, which he thought was fucking terrible. He saw that and he was just like, I can do better than this.
It was.
When I started watching this movie, I was like, we could have watched any other werewolf movie. We could have watched American Werewolf in Paris.
Oh, good Lord. We can watch that sometime. It is fucking hot dog shit.
No, we've watched one werewolf movie. That's my quota.
Well, there are good werewolf films. They're just in the 80s. And I was like, you know, we'd been there and stuff. So I wanted to give you something a little more recent. Granted, it's 22 years old. But, you know, I was trying to do you guys a solid. And I remember this movie being, like, for a werewolf movie, not bad.
I thought this was new to all of us.
No, I saw this movie probably like 15, 20 years ago.
He championed this as one of the movies that when he was like, when we did our Gaiden episode, it was like, what movie?
Oh,
this was the movie that he was like, you should watch this.
This is an unsolicited Nick pick.
Yes.
Well, I mean, we got vampires, we got creature feature, we got werewolves, and then next week we'll get witches. So
and the best one out of the three so far, other than the movie we're watching next week,
is Dog Soldiers.
Was the Blob?
Oh yeah, the Blob was fucking baller.
It was way
if you haven't listened to our episode about the Blob, it's literally one episode back.
Yes. Yeah.
So.
Okay. All right.
But so 2002 box office.
We were in high school.
This obviously was at the top of it, right?
No.
I mean,
yes,
it listed
absolutely,
£5 million.
£5 million. Yeah, so $6 million or something like that. But
so
sure.
I'll start from number 10 and work my way up. So this is the year that Minority Report came out, starring T. Crizzle.
You and that, yes.
I don't love Tom Cruise. That's not the thing.
No,
I like the Mission Impossible films.
You have names for all these actors. We're literally at the movies this week, and this dude, I'm not even joking. He's like, there's like a, what was his name? Oh, we were talking about Deadpool coming out, and I was like, Hugh Jackman, and he's like, that's not his name. He has names for all these actors. So T. Crizzle is Tom Cruise, for those who don't know, and I'm not allowed to say Hugh Jackman. It's Huge Yak Man.
Yeah, that's his Christian God-given name, and you will put respect on it.
Sure. Fuck. Okay.
So My Big Fat Greek Wedding came out this year.
I didn't like that movie.
The first Ice Age.
That was cute.
Signs came out, coming in at number 7.
So that came out at 7. Okay.
Yep. So
shocking.
Maybe we'll cover that someday. So I don't want to give out its budget and everything right now.
Yeah.
Die Another Day, which is a Bond film. Men in Black 2. Star Wars Episode 2, Attack of the Clones. The first fucking Spider-Man movie.
Wow.
The first. Oh, wow. I thought that was in the 90s. I guess I'm like way off. Okay.
Yeah. Starring
essentially the same time.
Yeah.
Starring Jerry Maguire.
No.
Jerry Maguire? Toby Maguire?
No,
I thought you were joking. Okay.
Okay, he is joking. He's just got to drop another Tom Cruise T. Crizzle movie. Okay, go ahead.
We also get at the number 2 spot, and I want everybody to understand this, okay? This is number 2, and I will give you number 1. So, financially speaking, number 1 is better than number 2. Number 2 is Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets.
Yay!
Okay. Wow,
number one is Lord of the Rings: The Two Towers.
Yes!
You guys suck.
Yay! We won against Harry Potter!
We fucking did it!
Josh is like, fuck that movie. Harry Potter all the way.
$50 million difference between the two. So like,
really close.
Drop in a bucket.
Yeah.
So I got that in my pants. So my pants pocket, get your mind out of the gutter. So, like I said at the beginning, this is a horror, internet horror film club. Nobody asked for it, but we're doing it anyway because this gives us a reason to deep dive into stuff, and hopefully, you enjoy going through this. At the end of every episode, we give out our homework for next week. Beyond this point, abandon all hope, ye who enter here, because it will be spoiler territory. So if you have not seen Dog Soldiers, you can get this on Amazon, and it's on Peacock and stuff like that. It's like an hour and 40 minutes. I suggest you check it out. If you don't give a shit about spoilers, stick around. Listen to me defend the movie. Yes. And the two girls, it seems like, do not have the same ideas that I do.
We don't.
Shut up. Men are talking. Top men are talking. If you want to hear what they have to say after I said that, stick around. But without any further ado, we will get into spoiler territory. Let me double check. Make sure there's nothing else I can tell you people at home that's not spoilery. I don't want to short you out. But yeah, that's about it. There is one little cool thing here that I can give away. So the lead in this film was not the original intended cast.
Okay.
The lead was first offered to Simon Pegg.
Whoa.
From Shaun of the Dead.
We definitely have more of a comedic vibe, I would feel.
He turned it down, though, after Edgar Wright, director of Shaun of the Dead, asked him to save his first horror role for Shaun of the Dead, which came out in 2004. So,
okay.
But yeah, that would have been a way different film. In a way, like, I mean, we wouldn't get Shaun of the Dead then, so I'm not down for that because I love that movie. But like, we could have gotten a Simon Pegg-led werewolf soldier movie.
That's true.
That would have been.
I think I would have liked it more.
That would have been dope as fuck. But all right, without any further ado, let's shed our skin, get all furry, get jiggy with it. as
Will Smith.
Yes.
Your favorite person?
I fucking hate Will Smith. Let's talk about Dog Soldiers.
Okay.
Great. If you'd like to be part of our horror film club, make sure to follow us at Instagram, Threads, and Facebook at Pod of the Dead. All of our episodes can be found at podofthedeadorelse.com or wherever you stream music and podcasts. If you have movie recommendations or questions for us, email us at podofthedead666@gmail.com. Don't forget to leave us a 5-star review. Or else.
Okay.
Great. I would like to say that these are not the words from me.
They are.
That's important to know.
Everybody needs to understand that Tasha gives everything a 10 out of 10. She's just 10 out of 10 happy, no matter how much she hates a film. 10 out of 10, because she believes, you know what? By God, they gave it a try.
No.
Everyone tried. Everyone gets prizes.
Everybody gets a gold star.
Yeah, literally.
All right. This movie is just brilliant.
Damn, Tasha.
No, I told you. Not my words. Really reading. I must admit that I was pretty skeptical when I picked it up from the rack at my DVD retailer. A werewolf movie? Aren't they generally so bad nobody wants to watch or buy them?
It's kind of true.
The answer to that is yes. The fact that this one was on sale didn't help, but I braced myself and got it, figuring that if it was bad, I'd bury it in some deep, deep cave and never let it out. But the movie got me out of my seat with excitement and enjoyment at the action and the thrills. Okay.
Hell
I
yeah.
remember.
Tasha, I agree with you so much right now.
Having a hard time with this one.
I know.
I remember checking the time on the DVD player and wincing at the fact that I was only half an hour into the. I'm sorry. I remember checking the time on the DVD player and wincing at the fact that I had only a half an hour of the film left to enjoy. I was tripping up on that sentence because I had the same effect going into it, wincing at the fact I was only a half an hour into it.
Me too. I told Nick we were into it. I was like, can you check to see what time we're at? It was like 35 minutes in. I was like, we haven't even done anything yet. He's like, yeah we have. And I was like, no, we haven't.
You girls wanted character development, goddammit.
No.
They wanted to be home for their football game.
No.
True, I have seen better special effects, and true, some things aren't very realistic, such as the producers acknowledge those things. But for a studio I have never heard of, with a budget far inferior to those of the Hollywood super productions, I found those effects to be very well done. I had a very good movie that gave me thrills I hadn't seen since the first Predator.
Oh, it's almost like they were talking about the Predator, and I wonder why.
I'm not gonna lie. If it's this movie or the first Predator, I would rather watch this.
Whoa!
I couldn't even get through the first Predator. I just know the opening sequence.
I don't mind a Predator, but like I like the later. Like I actually weirdly I like the second one with Danny Glover better because it's the Predator in Los Angeles.
Oh, jeez.
Of course it is.
It's badass.
All right. 1 out of 10. Are we ready for this?
Yep.
Truly dreadful movie concerning group of soldiers pitting their wits against werewolves. What makes the film so awful is the terrible, terrible gung-ho, do it soldier style dialogue, accompanied by the worst sort of macho sentimentality and posturing. They're
military, like, yeah, it's gonna be that way, right?
Yeah, but I think they do it to the nth degree in order to like make it more so. But anyway, okay. This is a film for young boys who want to be soldiers.
Hell yeah.
If only the whole bunch of them.
So this is basically the Baldwin guy putting the gun on his neck, the movie, right? Is that what we're saying from Vampires?
Oh, yes.
A little bit, yeah. If only the whole bunch of them would get eaten by werewolves. Thankfully, most of them do. The film is devoid of any attempt to explore character or human relationships in anything but the most perfunctory way. People are just there to embody qualities such as ruggedness, loyalty, determination, etc. Sub-themes include some ridiculous man's best friend stuff about dogs. The hero of the film at one point refuses to shoot the dog and is later rewarded by a dog coming to his aid. And some crap about football. One of the soldiers is a football obsessive. Yeah, that was true. Cue lots of remarks like, I should be watching the match, telling the villain of the movie doesn't like football. Tellingly? Okay. The villain of the movie doesn't like football or dogs. A sure sign he is not to be trusted. That is true. That is part of the storyline. The worst scene involves the hero killing the last werewolf whilst sprouting the line, "You think it's all over. It is now. It's so bad." Was there?
It is.
It was bad.
I don't think it's that bad.
So
it was so, like, there were parts of this movie where I so little was happening on the screen. I just lost interest and walked out of the room without realizing oh shit, I have to go back and watch this movie.
Your subconscious was trying to save you, is what you're trying to tell me.
Yeah, I went and did other stuff as the movie was playing, and then it dawned on me no, you gotta go back.
You actually have to pay attention. The first almost hour of this movie, not quite an hour, but almost an hour of this movie is so fucking slow. And it is legitimately, it's a military movie, just like Predator. They come in they have to go and do something that's like a maneuver thing, just like in fucking Predator. They get dropped into the fucking highlands in this movie, not the jungle, just like in fucking Predator. And then they have to go, and then they have all of the stuff that involves them having to get through this exercise or whatever. And it's all of that looks exactly the same. Okay. And then it's just weird. And I expected this movie, because Nick was like, "Oh, this is a great werewolf movie."
I didn't say great. I did not say great.
The werewolf
is a werewolf movie.
Yeah, I like this werewolf film. That's all I said.
Yeah. And my werewolf films that I go to are going to be the Underworld films or Rise of the Lycans. I like those movies. I said, "Well, have you?" Because he was watching this and he was like, the werewolves in this, he's like, "I've never seen them look like this before." And I was like, "Have you seen Rise of the Lycans?" Because they look just like that in Underworld, within a similarity.
But it came out later.
Before it, that movie came out later. Yeah, this came out before, but they have the same thing. So I was like, so they do exist like this.
But I don't want this. This is the difference. You can like what you like and everything, but I don't want to watch. This is my problem with Blade and stuff like that. I don't want to watch a superheroed style of vampires and werewolves and stuff like that. Yeah. Yes, I understand that this is Predator with werewolves, and it's still we're fucking men and fucking all that stuff. But I knew that going in. So this is my defense of the film and stuff, without we're not even close to review. But my defense of the film is it's not trying to be this think piece or anything. It's you're getting into this as just some military dudes that are gonna fucking fight some werewolves, and you get some legit fucking awesome looking werewolves, in my opinion. The scene where it gets in the window upstairs and is standing up, and you finally see them. I fucking love these tall, they're the actors are dancers on stilts, because they wanted them to be more fluid and stuff instead of just being lumbering. They wanted them to be very I like that about this movie. I like that it's all practical and everything, because Neil Marshall said that they could have done CG, but it was just so overused at the time and stuff, and it never looked really good. So they decided that they were going to use animatronics, bodysuits, and stilts, and that makes this movie for me. Aside from I think it's in 1981, you get an American Werewolf in London, and that has the best, like that is the best werewolf film of all time.
Okay.
It has the greatest transformation and stuff, and we'll watch it one day. Like, I'm not putting it anytime soon, but we'll watch it one day, because that is the thing. Werewolf films, there aren't a lot of good ones. Like, realistically, like there aren't. So it was just one of those things. I was like, you know what? It's been like 15, 20 years since I watched Dog Soldiers. I remembered liking it, so we're gonna watch it, and I still do like it. I think it does what it sets out to do. It's just fucking like special. They're not special forces, but like the British fucking army dealing with a fucking horde of werewolves, and then it turns out they're actually in the werewolves' house.
Yeah, I liked that part.
And all that kind of, like, I like that. There are problems with the film that I don't care for. I don't care that the girl is like secretly a werewolf the whole time and whatever.
Which
like
didn't make any sense to me. No. So then they can turn at will, but that doesn't make any sense.
But you have to make it through the night, apparently.
Yeah.
But I do like it's very obvious when like the bad guy from Special Ops, like, you know that he's turning into a werewolf.
Yeah.
Like, and
the other guy was going to too, because he got scratched.
But like but it's one of those things that it's not, for me anyway, it comes off, it wasn't obvious, because it's like, you know, he gets gutted and they're like getting them all put back together, and then like he's like up and running and stuff like that, and I was just like, what? Like, this is fucking stupid. I don't remember that. And then it clicks. It's like, oh, it's because he's turning into a werewolf. So now it actually does make sense. So there's that kind of stuff. Like, you know, because I would like be like, well, that's fucking dumb. I don't remember. Oh, well, actually that makes sense. Okay, cool, whatever. And it doesn't need to be super deep and shit. This is like a quintessential like B flick popcorn werewolf film. You're gonna get cool looking werewolves. It's got like some super awesome lines in it also, like when the fucking dude's about to get eaten and he says, I hope I give you the shits. I fucking love that.
Yeah, I don't care for it. Like, it just sounds so staged. Like, people wouldn't say that. And I understand it's a movie. It's not supposed to be reality. Yeah. All of this is based, like, clearly it's a werewolf movie. But at some point, like, just all of that over and over and over again, I got so bored.
Okay.
Yep.
So bored.
I agree. Well, my biggest thing is like, okay, so we spend the first hour loosely character developing, and you don't gather any kind of relationship with these characters where you give a shit about them. So like when they die, you're just like, okay, and you already know who the final girl's going to be in this movie, you know, or guy in this case. Yeah. And then they at the beginning of the movie, when it like shows you our first intro, they make a very big fucking point. Like, this is Mike Flanagan working his magic in this movie from 2002 of this fucking silver letter opener.
Yeah, a letter opener.
Yeah, and it's got some runes or something drawn on it or something along those lines, and then these people get offed, and then it's like, oh, we know that's gonna come back. So it's like we're getting further into the story, and then I'm like, I looked to Nick and I'm like, when are we getting this fucking piece of silver that we've been waiting for this whole fucking movie? Oh, wait, now after the house explodes, we get the fucking piece of silver.
Because we had to make sure the house explodes.
The biggest explosion ever, that just some 2x4s over top of him protected him, because that's real.
Exactly.
That's how that works.
Exactly. Like, there were and the floorboards after that explosion were still intact. Like, and he's like looking up, and I'm like, this doesn't make any fucking sense. And yeah, so no, a lot of it was just suspended reality, I guess, in the sense like it didn't make sense. I mean, I know it's a werewolf film, so that in itself takes place in that, but like, we're meant to believe that they're fighting for their lives and trying to get out of this place. And I liked all of that, like them like really working together for survival. That was really cool. Like, I thought like, well, we're gonna go do this so we can achieve this, and then trying to get the other car. And I thought all of that was really smart. And some of the deaths were neat, but well, like, it was a movie.
There was one thing that, like, when you're talking about the deaths, that there's one death in the film that I was like, that's kind of tropey garbage that I'm not a huge fan of. But then like after doing research, it makes sense why they did it. So you've got that one character that ends up, he's like shooting stuff and he ends up standing in front of the window and the werewolf pulls him out the window. And it's like, of course that fucking happens, whatever.
Right.
But they kind of actually set it up in a way that character is the most aloof character, that like he's got like all of his bag shit out all over the place, and his sergeant's like always calling him out on that stuff. So he's the dumb one that would do that. Like he's the one that's not gonna fucking pay attention to that shit. So it's like, okay, that makes sense that he would be like, it's not just some random person that just gets yanked out the window, which I initially thought. And then like after doing research, it's like, yeah, so they foreshadow that this character is not aware of how like his situations and stuff like that. They're sitting around the fire and his shit's everywhere and gets called out about it.
Shouldn't be in the military, essentially.
In a way, like he's out of his element. Like he like you got a few people in this that like you can tell it's like they're pretty fresh into the military, it seems like, and everything. So I think you get that like through some of the characters. And like I understand that like the machismo and all that stuff, but like in a way it's like it makes sense to me, especially when they think they're just doing an exercise. You can see that they're all kind of laid back and doing whatever. And then once they come upon the special ops area where everyone's fucking gutted and they get live ammo and shit, like it changes. Like they're like, all right, we got to fucking figure out what's going on here. We got to get the fuck out of here. The radio's not working. What the fuck? You know, like get it out. Like there's a lot more of that seriousness that comes across. And I like that because it sets up and then it's like, shit, hold on. We got to get this guy out of here. I understand like, it just so happens to be the guy that we met at the beginning. Like it's amateurish in its writing.
Yeah. Very.
But like at the same time, like it there's your villain, there's your arch villain, you know, like that's the guy that kills the dog at the beginning and we get to see him get killed later, which is kind of lame and whatnot. But the everything up to like when they get to the house and when the house exploding, all of that stuff I really like. The stuff in the forest and everything, them trying to get to the house and everything's okay. But the house scene, like the siege and like them dealing with the werewolves. And like I said, when that fucking werewolf comes in that top window, it's fucking awesome to me. Like that is such an iconic werewolf scene to me. Cause like, you know, like it's not like just jumping through the window, it's sneaking in, and that makes them so much creepier. Oh, and we get a werewolf that shoots a shotgun, so goddamn, that's awesome.
Okay, so who was the guy that got took through the window the same one that was getting eaten in the barn?
Yes.
Okay, I thought so. I liked that scene because I thought that was interesting. Like,
yeah.
I didn't expect that because normally you expect certain things. Like maybe you would see one standing there, like ready to scratch the shit out of the car or whatever. But it was like sitting there feeding. So I kind of liked that because that wasn't an unexpected twist. But yeah, I agree. Like the scene with the house is once you get it going, after they go through like taking care of their main guy, like him bleeding out and all that stuff, he's got gutted. Like after they get through all of that and all the big stuff starts happening, it gets a little better. And it's a little more entertaining, but everything leading up to that, which does take about a fucking hour.
It does take a bit.
I wanted to take a nap.
But once they get into the house, it's nonstop. Like it's either they're fucking getting yanked out the windows, they're fucking getting a shotgun shot at them. Because like all the deaths that happened before there, the dude like runs and impales himself into a tree, which is kind of dumb, but whatever.
How would that even happen?
There is a better scene that's that exact scene that's in Dale and Tucker versus Evil, where a guy's running and then impales himself on a tree, and that part's hilarious. But the scene where so he's gutted, right? They get him to the house, and then they're like trying to patch him up in the bedroom and stuff.
Yeah.
I fucking love that scene. Because, okay, so Sean Purdy asked Neil Marshall if he could actually have a few drinks before shooting the scene where his character, Sergeant Wells, gets drunk and bandaged up. And the director said, yeah, I don't know how many a few was, but it was way more authentic than I thought it was going to be. So the dude's like fucking like drunk in that scene. And then when he went to do like the punching scene, the first punch, he missed him like a stage punch. The second one, he fucking actually, on accident, fucking busted him in the nose.
Oh, shit.
To knock him out.
So that's, what's his name, Kid, the main actor in this? The redhead Scottish guy.
Oh, I don't have his name right here in front of me.
Okay, so he's a medic kind of in this because he's constantly taking care of everybody. He's like getting his main guy stitched back up and all this stuff. He also plays in Grey's Anatomy as a doctor, and his name's Owen Wilson. Owen, yeah, it's Owen. In it, and I really liked that because we got to hang out with Owen, and he was a medic in this, and then he was a medic in Grey's Anatomy as well. So
I was wondering if that was going to get brought up because that's all I could think of the entire movie was
he's Owen and Owen. Yeah. Okay, so you watched Grey's too. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
this is what he was doing before he went to what was it, Grace? Is that the name of the hospital?
Seattle Grace, yeah.
Seattle Grace,
well,
yeah.
And then the thing is he was a military veteran, so maybe this was his life legitimately before he even so he was fighting werewolves.
Goddamn
and
right.
then he was a veteran from that, and then he went to Grace, and then he has all this PTSD in that show, and so maybe that's what happened. I don't know.
Yeah, that's his backstory. Dog Soldiers is Dr. Owen's backstory. He had to change his name so all the heat would be off of it.
Yep. That's exactly it.
Another cool thing about this, so Sean Purdy, the guy that plays the sergeant, when we were watching this, I was like, he looks so fucking familiar. So I had to look him up. He plays Alfred in the show Gotham. So he was Alfred to young Bruce Wayne in that. Funny thing is Alfred, the character Alfred, was in I think it's called MI5.
MI6.
No, MI6, I believe, is Mission Impossible stuff.
Oh, okay.
Maybe it's MI6 if I'm whatever. But the military, the special military kind of stuff in England and whatnot. So that's his background and everything. So again, it's another one where it's he was fighting werewolves before he turned into a butler for the Wayne family.
That's great.
MI6 is.
Oh, it is MI6.
Yeah, it is. It's their secret intelligence agency.
Okay, so that's what it was. The secret intelligence he found out is that fucking werewolves are real, man.
Yeah, the other people I didn't really recognize a lot of the actors.
No.
Now, okay, so we talk about the machismo and all that stuff, right? But what do you think of the actual acting in the film? Do you think that it was well acted for the style of film that it was? The only person that I find kind of annoying in it, I sound like a broken record. I sound like I'm a fucking chauvinist, but the girl was kind of annoying in it. But I thought everybody else did a serviceable job.
I didn't care for it.
You didn't care?
I don't know if it was the acting or the writing, but I couldn't get into it. It seemed acted.
The special forces guy that he ends the big bad guy. He ends up being in Game of Thrones later on. I can't remember his character. I can't remember his character name in that.
I'll look that up too. Okay.
But he just comes off as an evil wizard sitting by a fireplace the entire film.
He does.
That totally won't work, Alan. It just comes off like that. Yes, I know things that you will never fathom. You will never understand these things. It's just how he keeps coming off, and it's one of this is something that works for me is I can see through that and have fun with it because it's that's so fucking dumb, and I'm just I instantly just go with he's just this fucking wizard I shall appear when I expect to be here, and that's it, and all this fucking bullshit. And it's just it's such a corny bad guy, but I'm here for the corniness because
and see, that's a huge difference. That's a huge difference between you and me. Is I want to be scared or at least a little unsettled by a horror movie. I don't want to watch a horror movie and laugh at it. I don't think there's a horror film that exists that will actually scare me anymore. Now, you can gross me out. You can make things stick in my head, but actually scare me, that's not a thing. I can't. I'm so desensitized to so much shit. I was raised getting on rotten.com and seeing actual things happen to people and all this stuff. So there's nothing unless it's documentaries scare me. But there's never a horror film that will ever scare me. And if you got one, why don't you send it our way to podofthedead666@gmail.com. And then maybe I'll get heckin' spooked, but it's not gonna happen.
Okay, so our guy Liam Cunningham, that's the big bad in this. He was in Game of Thrones for 42 episodes. He is Sir Davos Seaworth, and that's the character he plays in that. He is a pretty big character in that.
Yeah, he's good. I like him.
Yeah. And then I liked this because it looks like most of the characters that were in this movie were like authentically, obviously British or Scottish or something, Irish, something like that. So that was nice that, wasn't them putting on an accent. It was them actually
this is a British film. Like, this isn't a Hollywood movie. That's
true.
Technically a foreign film,
Yeah, because like when we're watching, I think his name's Kevin McKidd or something like that. The guy that plays it's not Owen Wilson. Owen Hunt is his name in the freaking Grey's Anatomy.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. I got it mixed up. Sorry. And he's actually Scottish in real life. So like I thought that was neat. But the acting in this was okay.
It's so neat that people come from different areas. Stuff isn't it just so?
I love Scottish, and that's why I'm so excited about this because I was like, I really like when you get to see accents like that aren't American.
Yeah, I had to tell her to keep her fucking pants on the entire film because they were talking, and she's like, "God damn it! God damn it!"
Sure, we'll go with that.
But yeah, another thing though is so Neil Marshall, the writer, director, yada 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 of this film. This is his first feature film and all this stuff. I don't know if you guys have seen it, but he later went on to make a very, very popular horror film called The Descent. Have you ever? Yeah, so which is a similar idea. So this is military people being stuck in a house and dealing with werewolves. The Descent is a group of I believe they're all girls that are spelunking down into this area, and there are like subhuman creature monsters down there that are attacking them, and they're trying to survive it. So it's like the same idea and stuff.
It's monsters.
I don't know if they refer to these as siege films, but it kind of is. It's like we're trying to hold down our base as things are coming to get us. So it's a werewolf film, it's a siege film, it's a military film. These are all of its tropes and everything. So all that being said though, so like I don't ever expect this to change your girls' opinions or ratings on this movie.
Okay.
But removing like I'm just going to call it pussification of werewolves. So like removing, your True Blood and like the Hollywood glitzy style of werewolf, right? Like
the romanticized ones?
Not the romanticized, but like, like True Blood, Underworld, like the really glitzy kind, but like a legitimate, like gritty, I guess, like horror, like it's where it's not like a superhero film, or whatever.
Okay.
What, like, do they make good werewolf films? Is there a werewolf film that you think that you would like?
No.
Okay.
No, like realistically, most werewolf films, like I think they've done well for some vampire storylines. I think they've done well in certain other things, like for monsters. But I don't think werewolves are done well most of the time, unless they're like a secondary character. Like I don't know of a single like full-on werewolf film that is the focus of the storyline that is like that great. Because even Underworld's vampires and werewolves, because it's always that like the fighting between the two. And then like and in True Blood you can't even use werewolves in True Blood realistically.
I'm just saying like that kind of like, because like the highest rated werewolf films are not what I would think of as being like a werewolf movie, like like your Underworld's Werewolf by Midnight, is that the name of it, the Marvel like film thing that they did, Werewolf by Night or whatever it is.
Werewolf by Night, I think that's what it was.
That's like a highly rated one. It's like, but it's still like a superhero-y werewolf. Like that's where people
that is the best werewolf one realistically though, because the way that I really liked that, but it's a short story. Like it's not
an hour. It's an episode of something.
Yeah, and like that one was done good. Really good. I liked that a lot. But it's not the same concept though. It's not the only other werewolf film that I can foresee me bringing to the table
is American Werewolf in London from the 80s. And I don't have that on the slate for this year and stuff, but if people really want it, hit us up and everything, and we can move it up the ladder. But like that one, that is one of those ones that's like, it is the werewolf film. If you don't like that movie when it comes to like, and it's like got its comical edge to it and everything, like, but it's still like, it's got some of the best fucking 80s special effects and all that. Like, it's really good.
It would have been great to watch this week.
Well, again, though, I didn't want to keep us in. We just watched The Blob, and I try to keep, since I'm the one bringing a lot of the films like that are not in the last 5 years and stuff. It's like I could easily just make us watch all 80s horror films, and I don't want to do that. So I was like, oh, werewolf film from the early 2000s. There we go. And then we're going to go back to the 90s next week. And then we're going to be in a string of like more recent films, all that kind of stuff. But that was kind of the thing. I was like, it's a neat werewolf film that's more recent than before we were born. So that was the criteria that it met.
Yeah, that's true. Tasha, do you think that you don't like werewolves in general and you just don't find them enjoyable to watch? Or is it because they just haven't made a film yet that you were like, this is it?
Yeah, it's not my cup of tea. I've seen some of the Underworld movies. It could very well be one. I like Lupin in Harry Potter. He's a werewolf. He's my favorite character. So I don't think it's necessarily werewolf. Yeah, but I don't gravitate towards monster movies. I don't gravitate towards action movies. I don't gravitate towards military movies. So this one just doesn't.
All the bad boxes.
Yeah.
I know you're not like a big creature feature person either. So, I mean, those are hit or miss. So, yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
No, it is. Yeah. It is one of those things like Steph and I were talking off mic, I think it was like last night or whatever, about like, like we get a bunch of vampire films and we, like when you think of like the universal monsters, you get like Frankenstein's monster, you get vampires, the Invisible Man, Creature from Black Lagoon, the Mummy, and the Wolfman, right? Get all those. But like the only one that ever gets like all the fucking movies is vampires. And there's like all these other, like you get a Frankenstein movie every once in a while, and it's always like meh. And you get a werewolf film every once in a while, meh.
Yeah.
So it's like there's a lot of like, I mean, the Mummy, like we did get a stretch of Brendan Fraser led mummy films,
but
again, those are just action films that a mummy is in, where it's not a horror film, like, which is right. I like the Mummy, like I'm not shitting on that. What I'm saying though is like it'd be cool if we got a mummy film that was actually, I mean, there was the one with T. Krizzle that came out not too long ago. That is true. There was. I didn't watch that. I heard it
wasn't bad. It wasn't.
I heard it wasn't
the worst movie.
Tom Cruise did a mummy movie.
He did.
Yeah,
he did. Yeah,
because they were going to reboot the Universal Monster, because like they did that. What is it? Dracula Untold and all that stuff. Is that the one? I think.
That one was actually really good.
They were trying to reboot all these things, and so like
he did a mummy movie.
Yeah, Steph is our resident vampire fan.
Yeah, I love them so much.
I wish they made better werewolf films, because I like the idea of werewolves.
The execution is just severely lacking for me. There's actually like, if you're looking at like werewolves, there is a TV show though that was on Netflix. I can't remember the name of it, but it's all the monsters kind of.
Was it Bitten?
No, that's a werewolf show I fucking love. They do a really good job in that, but that's a romanticized show, but it's also action and stuff. It's not really horror. But I love that show. But like, I even can't believe I forgot about that. But anyway, like on a more horror scale, it has Bill Skarsgård in it, and it's vampires and werewolves and stuff. And I can't remember the name of it, but it's on Netflix. I'll look it up and see if I can find it. It's definitely, if somebody wants to watch more like a really good werewolf transformation, and you want to watch something that has a little bit of more monsters in it, you should definitely check this out. I think there's like 2, maybe 3 seasons of it.
You just like binge watched a month or so ago that what was it? Is it Amy Adams or
that was great too.
What was that?
A Wolf Like Me. That was a werewolf TV show. Yeah, I really like that too. Not horror. It's a horror adjacent, but like they do much better on TV shows than they do, I think, in movies.
It would be interesting to see if we, like, since it's been working with television shows, if we will get like a new like imagining, and not like a big Hollywood, like I know they did one with like Benicio del Toro as the Wolfman, like in the last 10 years. And it's like, not like that. Like a legitimate, like kind of grimy werewolf.
Yeah.
Like, because you can make, okay, a werewolf film can easily just be a cloaked slasher. Like, it 100, because like, I mean, like, you could be, and you can redo the rules however you fucking want. It doesn't have to be full moon. It could be anywhere, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
You can do whatever. You just got to make sure that the rules are set and everything.
Don't let them sparkle, but yeah.
Yeah, yes, no sparkly werewolves. But like, I mean, like that, I think that kind of writes itself. You could just literally take Scream, take away Ghostface, put in a werewolf, and there you go. There's a fucking movie.
Kind of, yeah.
Send me my paycheck. You know, like, it's super simple in that sense.
They just don't do it.
I don't know why.
I don't either. And like, okay, so the thing I'm going to backtrack really quick. Hemlock Grove is the show.
Okay, I've heard of that.
It ran. It's a supernatural horror. It does have werewolves. Bill Skarsgård is in it. And so is Olivia Godfrey. So she's the one that's played in quite a few horror stuff. Movies like from like the 90s or something like that. But anyway, she's married to Gilbert No, she's not.
Married to Iago.
Now
listen here.
Oh man.
No, she's not. But anyway, she's been in a bunch
Godfrey,
of stuff.
R.I.P.
Yeah, I know.
He died?
Long time ago.
I think so.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, 5-10 years ago.
She played in House on Haunted Hill. That's where I was thinking of.
Oh, okay. The remake.
She's the one that we from
That's helpful.
Sorry, she's in it with Jeffrey Rush and Taye Diggs and all of them. Yeah.
Which character does she play? Do you have a?
She plays the wife, I believe. She plays.
She plays. It's Jean Grey.
Yeah, I think
from the X-Men, the original X-Men series.
Probably, yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Right
so, yeah, that's
we're gonna cover House on Haunted Hill this year. I think I've got that one set up.
Okay.
That's made by the same people that did 13 Ghosts, so you girls should love it.
I've seen it a bunch of times.
Same with Ghost Ship. They did that movie too.
No. Have you seen the House on Haunted Hill, Tasha? That was like our
I think so.
Age. I was gonna say I remember being scared shitless watching that movie.
That's my 13 Ghosts.
Yeah.
There were a lot of houses in places during that time.
We lived in one.
Yeah.
I think that was one that I saw.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. You girls ready to get into review territory?
Yeah. Since we went on like 500 tangents.
No, it doesn't matter.
It's fine. Nothing matters. It's not a big deal. Yeah, it's fine.
So, let's see here. I'll let you girls go first, and then I'll defend the movie.
Sure. I'll go first. You guys have to guess what I'm going to rate this movie first, though.
I think you're going to give it a 3.5.
Okay.
I think you're going to give it a 2. Solid
Jesus Christ.
Sasha's really thinking I'm hating this movie. Okay, so I'm gonna give my review and then I'll give you my score.
Yep.
But anyway, I will not watch this movie again unless it's just the clips of the house and I have to fast forward through the first hour. I would watch the last half of this movie again. I did not love it. I thought the acting was mid. I can't believe I keep using that word a lot lately.
No cap. For real.
I know. Sounds like our children. And I'm not going to go into a long thing about it. I already talked about it. It was okay. The werewolves look cool. You don't get a lot of them, but you get enough of them. I do like the idea of them, like this guy standing in the kitchen throwing everything he can at this fucking werewolf because he's trying to survive. That was neat. The transformation stuff was okay. Like when our characters got turned, things like that. It was okay. The explosions were fun. This is not a movie that I would recommend to anybody in the sense, unless they're really into slow beginning movies. This felt a lot like a 70s movie, realistically, with how slow it starts. But after you get a little bit going, and I don't like the coloration in this movie at all.
The film grading is hard.
It was terrible. It was so like I didn't like it. So,
but real quick though. What we were watching on Peacock and Amazon looked like direct film transfers. I know that they've put out a Blu-ray, like an HD.
It probably would look better.
I hope that it looks better because, it is harsh.
It is.
Real dark.
It's grainy in places, too. So I'm going to...
Not in a good way. Not in a good way.
Yeah, I'm going to give this movie a 4.
Okay.
4.
Yeah.
I didn't like it at all.
Hold on.
Hold
on. Tasha's giving this movie a 3.
That's right.
Tasha's giving it a 3.
I'm going to go with Tasha's giving this a 2.5.
I'll continue. I liked nothing about this movie. I was frustrated I had to watch it. I don't plan on watching it again. And
What?
I barely watched it the first time. Had I found this on my own, I would have shut it off within the first 10 minutes.
I agree.
Because of the acting style, because of the production, the lighting, the weird placement of music was
the music
I didn't
is pretty
appreciate.
bad, actually.
It's very bad.
And it's very over dramatic.
And not in the right spots. It seemed like there was a lot where there should have been sound of some sort and there was nothing. And then the music would just randomly start playing in other parts. That drove me crazy. The werewolves looked just like people with masks on. Nick, I know you loved them.
Whoa. Those are full animatronics. Come on.
The mask was cool, but it's not my thing. I didn't like anything about it, and I'm giving it a 2. And that's generous.
My God, that's generous. All right.
It was up there. I'm not gonna lie. Watching it was up there with Buffy. I think I would watch Buffy.
Oh my God.
I think I may watch. Now that I'm thinking about it, I might watch Buffy before I would watch this again. Also, I want to say something. There's something to be said about watching it with people.
Okay.
I think that does me a disservice. Is a lot of times if it's a movie that Drew doesn't want to watch, I don't subject him to it, so I'm watching it by myself.
Oh, I get that.
That makes a sense. Yeah.
I think that definitely puts something into it. But with this one,
being able to sit there and be like, "Are you fucking serious?" with someone else does help.
Yeah, because otherwise I'm just sitting there going, "Are you fucking serious?" I could be going and doing something else.
Could literally be
but
doing
I'm stuck
anything
here.
else. I could be watching Buffy.
Yeah, that thought popped into my mind.
Oh my God. All right.
So I'm giving it a 2.
Okay.
Damn. So let's see here. What did you give it, Steph?
I gave it a 4.
And you gave it a 2, Tasha. Okay. What do you guys think?
we're a 6 out of 20.
Yeah.
Failing. What do you guys think that I'm giving it?
I'm going to say a 6.5.
I'm going to say 5.5.
Splitting the difference. I'm giving it a 6.
Okay.
So with your scores combined is my score.
With our scores combined.
It's a whole 12.
It's not as good as I remember it. The film grading and stuff was really fucking hard.
It was.
There is a lot of down spots and everything, but I like that house scene, the whole house scene up until the explosion. When he's down the bottom and stuff and it blows up, that's super corny. And then him fighting the bad guy at the end, that's super corny. I get it. There are some shit parts of this movie. Fully get it. But it's one of those movies where it's there's not a lot of good werewolf films. I can think of 2. That's it. Mm-hmm. 2 good werewolf films. That's it. And I figured, I hadn't seen it in a long time. I remembered liking it. I own it. So yeah, give it a 6. The fucking werewolves in this film are creepy. I like these werewolves. So many times we get the big burly brutish ones, and these were the werewolves were almost like wolfhounds with massive wolf heads. They're really long. I just really like that.
They kind of look like the Anubis kind of thing going on. Yeah. Ancient Egyptian stuff. That's what it reminded me of.
And I like the twistiness of it being they're trying to take this house as to save themselves, but this is actually the 3 little bears house. And they even make that comment where they're eating the porridge and all this stuff. Also, the food that they're eating in there is people, because the bodies are downstairs. She tries to tell them not to eat the food because she knows that it's people. So they're, even when they're not in wolf form, these are cannibals now and all this stuff. I like all that. It's not flat out there.
But how are they cannibals if they're already wolves? So they're just because they're eating humans and they're
only wolves during the moon.
But they're still technically wolves regardless. It's still part of their DNA.
I think
they just change.
They just change.
On the full moon, they identify as wolf. The other days of the year, they identify as people. I stand by my.
I don't. Yeah, the wolf is still in them, though.
Mm-hmm.
It presents itself.
They'd be cannibals if they ate dogs too. I'm just saying. They can be double cannibals. Okay.
But they're not dogs. They're werewolves.
Yes.
Wolves are dogs.
Dogs are canines.
Uh-huh.
But they're different species of canine.
Yeah, but they're all the same. This is not. We're not doing phylums and kingdoms here. They got pointy ears and teeth that go.
But a werewolf and a dog are not the same thing, and a person and a werewolf are also not the same thing.
Yeah, it's just like saying a lion eats a leopard. Does that mean it's also a cannibal?
Cat on cat violence. Yeah.
I don't look at it
that way,
I guess. I don't either.
I think of a werewolf as part man, part dog, wolf, whatever, right?
Okay.
Like that's what I look at it as. So if they eat a person, it's cannibalism. If they eat a canine, whatever, they're cannibal too.
Okay.
Like, that's just how I look at it.
That's okay.
Okay.
Best of both worlds.
You can be wrong, but it's okay.
Oh, get the fuck out of here.
I don't agree with your logic, but
I don't either. That's okay.
We're also talking about what a werewolf is. So.
Exactly. Yeah.
I stand by your right to be horribly wrong.
That's right.
About a fictional thing that doesn't exist.
Exactly.
Fictional, my ass.
Yeah.
Goddamn werewolves. All right.
So, do you want the final score?
Only if it's passing.
It's not.
We're not even close.
No.
What we got?
We are giving this movie a 40%.
Okay.
So I think that's fair. I think that's a fair score. It's not for everybody. You're more than likely not going to like this. But like Steph said earlier, if you're looking for like a werewolf film, and there's not a lot of good ones, and you're really into werewolves, you probably dig it.
Like, if you fast forward to the first hour.
Yeah, like I don't think it's Buffy quality like some fucking people.
I actually, realistically, I agree with Tasha, and this is the only reason why I did give Buffy a lower score, because in the sense of like creativity and the way it was created was cheesier and wasn't as well made in the sense of made. But in terms of like actually entertainment value, Buffy didn't have any slogged down slow parts. This movie has an hour that does. And that's
Buffy
where my argument is.
Buffy made me want to die. Like I did not like that movie. It was.
I don't like it either.
It got 1 point for being a movie.
Yeah.
And then, if I remember, I think I gave it like a 2. It got a point
Tasha
for being
gave it
a movie. 1. And then they got a point for having Paul Rubens in it. And that was it. Paul Rubens was good in it. The rest of that movie was fucking horrible. But to each their own, you know. Yeah. If you want to, that's one of our older episodes, so it's not that great because we try to go step by step at that time, whatever. But we do give a lot of fucking hot takes on that movie. So go back and check that out.
Yeah, I just.
All right, so yeah, this got a 40. I think it's fitting. It's not the greatest film.
It's not.
I'll be interested to see what you girls say about American Werewolf in London whenever we get to see that.
Okay. Yeah, because I haven't seen that.
Have to compare it to this, and it's gotta be a higher score. I would be blown away. Tasha's like 1. I'd be like, podcast over. All right.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
So before we get into homework and all that jazz, do you girls have anything that you want to champion?
Yes,
I do. I watched a really good movie the other night called The Killing of the Sacred Deer.
Yeah, we're going to be covering that eventually.
Oh.
I believe.
All right, well.
It's horror, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a horror mystery. It's more of like a psychological. I would probably consider it a thriller.
Yeah.
Okay.
I loved it. I guess I won't say too much about it.
You can say whatever you want. Just don't give it a score.
Oh, that's true. It has the main character that's in Saltburn is in this too, younger.
Okay.
And he plays like this weird dude so beautifully. I don't know if you've seen Saltburn.
I haven't.
But he kind of has the same like personality characteristics in both movies, and he does it really, really well.
Yeah,
maybe. Yeah, it's true. It also has a bearded Colin Farrell, which is very pleasant to watch.
Okay.
And Nicole Kidman, who I just love anything that she's in.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's my.
You're burying the lead. Also, what production company made this movie?
An A24 movie. So also an A24 movie. Yeah,
Okay.
it's real good.
Yeah, it's in the bag for next May, for May 24th.
Oh,
So
okay.
It's over there. So, but yeah.
I suggest you watch it sooner than next year.
Cool.
It's on Netflix.
Okay.
Nice. There you go.
That's
All
cool.
right.
Okay. Is
Or
that it,
I'm sorry,
Tosh?
it's on Max. But yeah, that's
Okay.
my main one.
Okay. All right, honey, do you want to go or you want me to go?
Mine's short and sweet.
Okay.
If you're looking for something music wise, I didn't get a lot of stuff going on this week. I don't know what the fuck I even did this week. It's kind of a blur. But there's a band called Groza. That's Groza.
Okay.
They're like a black metal band from Germany. They've only got one album out right now. Their newest album is coming out this fall, I believe it is. But the only album that's out is called The Redemptive End. They are a black metal band. I know black metal's not for everybody. It's very extreme, yada, yada, yada. But if you were to get into black metal, like where could I start for something that's approachable? I would suggest this band. They really work with melody a lot. It's still like harsh vocals and stuff like that, and like blast beats and all that jazz. But their orchestration of their guitar parts and stuff are very catchy, very, very sweeping and stuff like that. So yeah, Groza, they're on all the streaming platforms. Check it out. Like, it's not for everybody, but if you're looking for something a little different than maybe what you listen to on your daily commute to work or whatever, give them a check. Maybe it'll be your new favorite thing.
Maybe. Okay. So for me, I have two things. One's gonna be quick. So right now, Netflix has all the 50 Shades of Grey movies. I rewatched all of them. I did not like them when they first came out. I thought they were really cheesy. And then now it's been a lot of years and I decided to do a rewatch, and I was taking it one step at a time because I was like, once I hit that super cheese factor, I am not watching these anymore. They were actually way better than I expected. I liked them all this time around and I appreciated them for what they are. They kind of stay not completely true to the books, but because I read the series a long time ago, but I thought they were good. So if you want to have something to watch that's a little spicy, kind of, I guess, you should go watch the 50 Shades movies on Netflix. And then the other thing is we went and saw Twisters.
Oh, yeah.
This week. We saw it on opening day. Wasn't sure what to expect.
See that movie.
We did. Nick did not love the movie, but he didn't hate it. He went with me because I wanted to see it. So I wasn't sure if it was going to be a remake. It's not. So that was good. And they were just basically kind of carrying on with the same concept. The writing is a little sloppy in this storyline, but I do find it like it's a good popcorn movie in the sense if you want to go watch a natural disaster movie in the sense of like watching, that, and then you have the hots for Glenn Powell, you should go watch this movie because it was decently acted and it was entertaining. That's pretty much all you can expect out of watching a lot of these kind of movies, and it delivers in that way. And I would suggest if you like that, you liked the original, go into this and watch this. You may not like it as much because the development isn't as good, but it was entertaining. So
my only 2 cents that I'll give of this is if you like you gotta like natural disaster films. Because I'm not. Well, no, this is what I'm saying. You have to like natural disaster films. That's something that you have to actually like because that's all you get in this. For me,
yeah.
That was the high points of it. Was just that. The difference is the original Twister had like a charm to it and everything. And I don't like natural disaster movies, but I liked Twister. This one, it was like, yeah, the fucking special effects are pretty cool. That's about all I got out of it. But if you like natural disaster films, you're probably gonna fucking love it. Like that's not my jam.
Yeah, I just thought it was entertaining.
And Glenn Powell, I expected it to just be eye candy, and that was it. And I was just like, I don't fucking want to watch this. It's got that guy in it, and he just reminds me of like a Hallmark kind of guy or whatever, right? And he did a great job. Like he was actually turned out to be my favorite character in the movie. So.
Yep, it was good. So there you go. That's our champions of this week.
All right. So Tasha, do you want to tell us what our homework is for next week and why we're doing it?
So next week, we will be going over The Craft, which is one of my favorite movies from the past. And I picked it because it's my birthday episode.
Yay!
Yep. So Tasha's going to be 900 years old.
Yep.
Yeah.
And we're going to cover The Craft. I believe it's like 96.
Sounds right.
Somewhere around there.
It's got my teenage crush Nev Campbell in it. So we'll be watching that for the upcoming episode. And then after that, we have a listener suggested movie that I am so excited to get to.
Okay.
So excited. You know what it is, girls. We've talked about it
I know. I'm fine with it. That's not a problem for me.
I'm waiting for the week afterwards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shit in the middle.
So, we're going to watch The Craft. Make sure you watch it. Come back and listen to us next week and everything. And be part of the club with us, all right?
You can find it on HBO Max.
There
Or
you go.
just Max. I'll never get used to that.
Yeah, me either.
Bill. We're just going to call it Bill, Max, Philip, whatever name you want to give it.
Sure.
For Pod of the Dead, I am Nicholas.
I'm Stephanie.
And I'm Natasha.
Come back and listen to us, or else.